everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr., making it 2 nights in a row with this. I want to talk a little bit about, this is a Mountain Dew, cracking a coldie here, not a brewski, not even a ginger beer, just good old caffeinated Mountain Dew. Not sure if you're familiar with impoundment. That is the action of a president to not spend money that's been appropriated by Congress. That's what Musk is trying to do. That's what Doge is trying to do. They're trying to prevent government spending by getting rid of these agencies, by firing workers or getting them to resign. So Congress, as we know, has the power of the purse. They can spend money on what they want to spend money on, and but presidents try to. It's not just trying to spend money on what hasn't been approved, but it's kind of a thing when if they refuse to spend money that has been appropriated, and it's not really been that big of a deal, but every now and then it comes up, and it came up in the early 70s after Watergate, when Nixon was just taking it to a level with refusing to spend money on things. But Congress, and they are they get to choose what they spend our taxpayer dollars on. And if the president refuses to do that, that's a problem. So there was actually a congressional act in 1974, which it's already illegal to do this impounding that presidents will occasionally try to do, but this act just strengthened that protection to say that, yeah, you do have to spend the money on what we say you have to spend the money on. And what presidents try to do is they try to couch it under the guise of, well, we just didn't need that much money, or we don't want to be wasteful. But the practical effect is that they just don't spend money on things that they don't agree with or that they don't believe in. And that's not okay. And it's very, very, very much what Trump and Musk are trying to do here. These are agencies that are funded by Congress and approved by Congress, and to just come in by executive order and say we're not going to spend this money on things that Congress said you must spend this money on. Now, of course, the next step for them will be taking this. They will call it a surplus now, a budget surplus, if it gets to that level, because of the money they didn't spend, and say, oh, well, we now have this money to spend on other things, and they absolutely do not. That's even more an egregious offense than this impoundment is. But this impoundment that's something that could go through the courts, that would go up through the courts, and probably if it gets to the Supreme Court, it's not likely to be approved by the Supreme Court. So the federal judge that steps in and says, no, when you put these payments, when you freeze these payments, you can't do that. And you can appeal it if you want. That will take months, maybe a year or more, to get up to the Supreme Court and work all of its way through. So in the meantime, these payments would have to continue. There's also the small matter of the United States defaulting. When you don't pay what you owe, you default. It's more of a debt term, but still, you can't just run it like a Trump business and stiff your contractors and stiff your suppliers. You do have to pay things that you've agreed to pay, and this is another thing they're violating. So this is what Musk freaks out about. This is why he tweets and rages, and it's kind of funny that he seems to do it more than Trump does, because Trump always throws his little hissy fits, his little tantrums, and Musk does it even more, because he fancies himself. Again, he's not a president. He's not elected to anything, but he fancies himself this beloved leader, just like Trump always has. There's nothing more important to these people than believing that people love them. and people think they're smart, and people think they're rich and powerful. That's what drives these guys. So when Musk gets slapped down, it's pretty funny. He doesn't have power to do anything. He doesn't have immunity for anything. When he would violate a judge's direct order like Trump does, he doesn't have any protections, other than if charges are brought against him, Trump could pardon him depending on what those are. So this is more reason for optimism. This is more belief that you don't have to throw in the towel yet 3 weeks in. Yeah, they're trying to do everything, and they're doing it really fast, and they're doing it really organized, but that's not a surprise. There were so many of us and so many of you who throughout the summer were saying, you know what, we saw what he tried to do his first 4 years. And this time he's not going to make the same mistakes. He's going to hit the ground running. He's going to have all his people in place. He knows what he can get away with and what he can't. So the things he's going to get away with, he's just going to push those. And the things he couldn't get away with before, he'll just try again. Only this time, he wouldn't stop. Remember, he said one of his biggest regrets after losing the election and leaving the White House wasn't losing the election, it was leaving the White House. So these are the kinds of things he's going to do. He's going to push it past a limit and then just have a judge say, well, now what are you going to do about it when I violate your rules? So, okay, here's a case in point with this impoundment thing. This is why I'm thinking about this. I listened to some economist podcasts and was doing some reading about it based on that. They're still not, there's still a lot of frozen payments. They're still not paying the things they are supposed to pay. And it's a real problem. This is the thing where we all go, okay, well, what happens if he directly violates judges' orders? Well, that's happening now. Now, they're not saying that they are doing that. I don't know what they're saying. Maybe the check's in the mail or the payment got lost somehow. But there are payments that are not being made, and these agencies are stepping up and pointing them out. The ones that can, the ones that haven't been completely compromised yet. So that's all good news. The other good news is when we were talking about the Gulf of America versus the Gulf of Mexico, and we have people like Mexico standing up to Trump and Canada and France. Based on these little things, well, what this is enabling them or allowing them to do, it's enabling these countries to recognize each other and see each other. And we have alliances as the United States of America. We are the leaders of all our alliances. But Trump's thinking is that without the United States, all of these alliances would just fall apart or be powerless. Or helpless, and they are so far from that. We saw what happened when Russia tries to take on the world. They can't even take on Ukraine. We saw what happened when Germany tried to take on the world twice in the world wars. The world is too powerful. Trump does not learn from history. His people do not learn from history. And if his intention is to take on the world, which it seemingly is, he's going to find out real quickly that he won't be able to do that. The purchasing power of the EU, you can throw Japan in there as well. They're pretty staunchly allied with us right now because Trump hasn't gone too hard against them. But these steel tariffs go into place and aluminum tariffs in a month, which I'm not so sure of. Like, why would he put them a month out? He always does it like today or tomorrow before he backs off. So why is he giving them a full month? He's looking for something to be negotiated. That's why he's allowing a full month. But he's also got the auto industry up in arms. He's especially Ford. Now GM's kind of going along with it, saying they're prepared with their aluminum alternatives, supply alternatives. But Ford CEO is out today just flat out saying this is chaotic, this is awful, you can't, this is extraordinarily disruptive to the automotive industry. And Trump says he wants American automotive industry to be number one. This is not the way to do it, to constrain the supplies of your automotive industry and make them all more expensive. So we're starting to see a little pushback. We're seeing some countries working together now. We're seeing industries standing up to him just a little bit. The fact that this Ford CEO said this publicly, I read this on CNBC today. That's a calculated statement right there, because make no mistake, these leaders are terrified of him, what he will do, and that's why they're taking these ridiculous actions. Ford and GM both paid their $1 million for the inauguration. Ford even donated some cars. Maybe it was both of them donated some cars. So they did what they were ordered to do, but they can't. I mean, automotive industry is cutthroat, and if you take something like aluminum and steel and mess with that in the supply chain, it's going to wreak havoc on these companies. They don't have a lot of money margin to begin with, so they're speaking out, and this is developing day by day. Countries and industries and companies speaking up and speaking out, and it's not just to Trump, but I think it's more directed at the Congress people, that they have allies in industry, because there are Congress people who want to stand up to Trump, feel like they can't. But if industry speaks up, these companies and these CEOs speak up, then the Congress people can say, hey, these are our constituents, these are our donors, this is where the money comes from, these are our lobbyists, so we have to answer to them, right, Mr. Trump, President Trump. I hate saying President Trump, but he is the president, so I'll give him that. I'm feeling pretty good about the turn things are taking over the last few days. It's still really bad. I'm not trying to, I'm not acting like things are good. I'm just saying I'm feeling better by the day as more of this comes up. That's probably why I put out 3 videos since Friday, after going a few weeks between videos for a month or two. I'm just more excited about it, and I'm starting to see a path there, and we're hoping that something would reveal itself, that something would clear up a little bit. Some of the fog of war would lift a little bit from the early onslaught, and I think it is, because these companies cannot operate their businesses that way. These executives have millions and millions of dollars in bonuses and stock options, and they have hundreds of thousands of employees to take care of. So it's not like Elon Musk owning X. These are real CEOs with real companies, real employees, real global relationships. It's not just a guy. So that's starting to happen, and that's encouraging. I hope you all are finding encouraging things tonight. Maybe find some Mountain Dew or something else to drink tonight, and we'll talk later.